So this is the speed renovation of Peacey's family home. Just so you know, when I'm done with this build, it will not be a family home anymore when I'm done with it, even though it's called that. When I started renovating it, I had already done the cleanup, so unfortunately that's not a part of the video, but hopefully no one's bummed out about that. Because this is the starter office of House Flipper 2. I did the cleanup when I first booted up the game. So I was recording then, but I was streaming, so the VOD doesn't exist anymore, so I can't include it in the video. But personally, I think that cleanup is the worst part of any renovation. So I personally wouldn't mind that cleanup isn't a part of the video, but who knows? Let me know if you want it included in the future. So I had a clear vision when I started renovating this. I knew I wanted to make it, well, contemporary or modern. I'm still quite not sure what the difference is between modern and contemporary, but I tried Googling it, right? So how I understood it, contemporary is more recent. Modern is like maybe 2000s and 2010s, and then contemporary is like maybe 2010s and 2020s or something like that. But from what I've seen houses when I Google those styles, I think this ends up being more contemporary. At first I wanted to make it modern, but it kinda drifted into the contemporary more, I think. But my vision for this house was, I was it was probably shower thoughts or something like that. You know how it is, once you get an inspiration you have to do it right away. So I had the inspiration and then I had to start building right away. So I did. So my vision was that I wanted to make the patios bigger. I don't know if they've updated it later, but last time I checked, cars didn't exist in this game. So I knew I wanted to get rid of the garage entirely. I wanted to make the downstairs open floor plan. So I bulldozed the entire wall in the downstairs so I can make the garage a part of the living room area instead. That was my vision when I went into this. I didn't really have any other plans. Usually when I renovate houses, I try to make them so that I would want to live in them. So I did want to make this one bedroom, which I end up doing. It's one bedroom. Technically, if you were to list this house, it would count as a 2-bedroom house, but one of the bedrooms is furnished as an office instead. And there's 3 bathrooms, technically, 2 toilets and 1 shower. So this house ends up being open floor plan, living room, kitchen and dining room. 1 bedroom with a walk-in closet and an ensuite bathroom, 1 office and 1 laundry room and a toilet. So overall 2 toilets and then 1 laundry room that also has a shower, so it's like a shared bathroom / laundry room. And I know 3 bathrooms is a lot for a 1-bedroom house, but to be fair, this is technically 2 bedrooms. And in real life, if you were to buy a house, right, it usually doesn't come pre-furnished. And realistically, I think 3 half bathrooms for a 2-bedroom house is normal. Because if you imagine the master bedroom and then a kid's room, that would be at least 2 people living there. So I think that's okay. That's a realistic amount, and that's at least 2 people, right? It could be the parents and then 1 kid, or it could even be more than 1 kid. You could easily fit more than 1 single bed in the smaller room, and even more than 2 single beds if you use bunk beds, right? So I think 3 bathrooms is okay, especially since one of them is an ensuite half bathroom and only one of the bathrooms has a shower, right? And no toilet, so there's only 2 toilets. I uploaded this house to mod.io. I can link it for you in the description. I'd love to see if someone wants to refurnish it to be 2 bedrooms instead. Or maybe you just want to take this house and make it a completely different style. I think that would be awesome to see. I'll link my Discord down below as well, so you can send your images there. I'd love to see if you end up renovating this. renovating my renovation. And you can also share a video if you make a build video of the renovation. That would be cool also. And even if you want to link other videos you have on my Discord, maybe. I love watching House Flipper videos, or even if you have some other games. I mostly watch build videos on like this specific genre that House Flipper is in, but you can link anything you want there basically. So consider joining my Discord. It's not very active right now because I haven't been streaming a lot lately. I prefer recording videos because they're easier to edit to YouTube than streams, but I do stream sometimes. At first I thought I would have closed in the kitchen and the dining room again, or like kinda move the walls a little bit, because I wanted to keep the entryway, and with an open floor plan the entryway kinda looks stupid. It was just like tiny little bump out in the middle of a giant room, so I think that looks stupid. But then in the end I decided I don't want to do that after all, because I wanted to include a giant kitchen, or like it's a decent sized kitchen, but I wanted to include an island. So I decided to make it open floor plan after all, and I get rid of the entryway, even though at first I wanted to keep it. The house was originally very traditional in style. I wanted to keep some original elements of it, but I end up getting rid of a lot of it, mostly because they're like so traditional that I wanted to keep the house pretty modern. I do sell all the doors and all the windows because I wanted to switch them out for a more modern / contemporary style. I wanted to change the staircase railing to the same one outside, but you couldn't demolish those weird triangle pieces, so then I kinda end up working around it, and I use like the same surface finishes I use on the walls on the railing instead. When I was writing the script for this voiceover, like I'm not obviously reading from a script right now, but I write like keywords so I can like check in every once in a while. If I run out of stuff to talk, I can check what I want to talk about. I have a list of stuff that I want to mention in the voiceover. But anyway, I was writing the script and I realized you couldn't demolish the triangle pieces, but you can actually sell them. So I did go back into the build before recording this, and I do switch out the half wall to a railing instead. I didn't record it because I had already finished the build otherwise, but I'll include it in the final result screenshots so you can see it at the end of the video. I think it ends up looking better than the half wall. I mean, if it didn't, I would have just closed without saving, right? I hope they add workshop to House Flipper 2 soon. I remember in House Flipper 1 I converted a ton of the Sims 4 items into House Flipper because I built so much in the Sims 4, right? So I like know all the items by heart, and I wanted to add my favorite items into House Flipper as well. It's just so much easier, like when you're furnishing a house and then you have this vision in mind, and then you can just like grab the items you need for the vision. So I hope we can have that soon for House Flipper 2 as well. And I feel like I'm not alone in that. I feel like a lot of the Sims 4 players also play House Flipper 2. Like, it's not just me that wants the items to House Flipper. And they're just generally nice items, right? Like, you don't have to be a Sims player to enjoy them. So I feel like a lot of people would benefit from having those. Like I said, I try to keep as many elements of the original house as possible. I usually do that when I renovate builds. I want to keep as many things of the original house as possible. I don't change where the chimney is, and I add some fireplaces to it, and I keep the weird dent in the hallway. I think that adds a perfect opportunity to add some accent furniture there so that hallway isn't just a straight line. Like normally when you do hallways, all you can really furnish them with is like a rug. There's not even like wall space for paintings or anything because they're just full of doors. So I think that dent was okay to keep. And I'm so glad it shows you, like when you're building a wall or a fence, it shows you the length. It makes it so much easier to make your house symmetrical that way. I cut out of the video most of the like exterior surfaces that I do because the video is sped up 3 times, right? And it just spins so much. Like even while I was editing, I got dizzy looking at it. So I just cut it out of the video because it's not nice to watch. The camera just spins so much when you're doing the surface finishes, so I cut it out. I keep the interior surface finishes though. I don't think the camera spins around so much because all the like tiles and stuff, they're like in the same room as me, right? So I can keep those. I think painting the walls and doing the floors and stuff, it looks so good because it makes everything like come together. Like that's the point in the renovation when you can see the change the most, I think. Like the vision is coming together, and not just the builder, but the viewer as well can like really see the difference there. I actually really liked the paneling that this house already had on the floors and the walls. I wanted to keep some of that, but you couldn't copy style the existing surfaces in the house, so I just end up changing those, unfortunately. I wanted to like copy style the floor and just change the material to the dark wood I end up using throughout the entire house as one of the like accent colors, or like not even accent colors, like just the base color scheme of the house. I could have just painted the upper wall in the walls where the panelings were, but the colors were terrible. Like most of the panelings were like green or something, so I didn't want to keep those. I just ended up painting over them since I couldn't change the color. But let me know what build you want to see me renovate next. I've had a lot of ideas while doing the voiceover, so would be cool to put them in use. Also, let me know what kind of build styles you want to see. Maybe you want to see me do something else than modern or contemporary for once. And also let me know what kind of color schemes you want to see. My go-to is always like pastel. The Sims 4 has a lot of great pastel items. That's why I love furnishing with that color scheme. Pastels are also easy to match. Like as long as a color is pastel, you can pretty much mix any color you want or any hue of any color, as long as it's pastel. And let me know if you prefer real-time videos or speed build videos. House Flipper is kind of hard to do like speed builds because the videos end up being so long. Recording a voiceover for 3 hours is pretty much impossible, right? That's why all of my previous speed builds have been with like music on top of the speed build instead of a voiceover. This is my first time trying to do it with a voiceover. That's why real-time videos are easy to make, right? Because you just kind of edit out the quiet parts and then it's done. But that only works if the build isn't 9 hours long, right? Like this build took me 9 hours real time and it's like 3 to 4 times sped up. I speed it up a bit more in the parts where the camera isn't spinning around so much. Let me know if the speed is okay or if I should slow it down a little bit more. My first video was sped up 4 times and people were complaining that it was too fast. I say complaining, but it's like, I'm glad people let me know because then I know to fix it next time. So I think constructive criticism is always welcome. At first I wanted to keep the columns, so I just changed the color of them. But this is where I decide to get rid of them and replace them with walls instead, or like columns made using the wall tool. So I can match the columns to the materials and colors I use on the like exterior surfaces. Yeah, I end up changing the placement of the columns many times as well, because at first I was gonna keep the original roof of the house, but then I wanted a patio and, you know, one thing led to another and I kind of accidentally end up deleting the entire roof and redoing it. And that's when it takes a more contemporary turn instead of modern, as I was saying in the beginning. I end up adding so many patios on this build that like by the end I had trouble furnishing all of them, but I think it looks good in the end. I think I figure out stuff to put in all of them so that it looks realistic and not repeating, even though this game is fairly new and there's not a lot of furniture yet. What happened there? I think it has enough and I think I pulled it off. But can we talk about how great it is that we have free camera while building the roof? In House Flipper 1, you kind of just had to walk everywhere and stuff. Free camera is great. I'm not great at controlling the free camera yet, but I think it still makes it a lot easier. In House Flipper 1, though, we had the grappling hook, which I really miss in House Flipper 2 as well, because the walking while placing the roof didn't matter as much when you could just grapple. The grappling hook worked so that you pick a point, right? And then your character would kind of just teleport there to the point you picked. That would be great in House Flipper 2 as well, because I had this problem where I deleted a window so I could place like furniture there instead, right? And so when I fix the wall, it's like brick texture, right? So painting it on the inside is easy, but just meddling with the scaffolding instead of having the grappling hook is so annoying, because on the outside I had to place scaffolding to where I wanted the brick to go, but I had already landscaped there. And you can't place scaffolding on top of landscaping because it counts as items, and then the hitboxes are colliding, so you can't put scaffolding there. So I had to like really mess with it. I tried to climb on the plants, climb on the trellis. Is that a word? Is trellis a word? Wait, is trellis a word? Trellis. Okay, as you can probably tell by my accent, I am not a native English speaker. I'm actually Finnish. So yeah, it is a trellis. I tried to climb on the trellis. In the end, I end up reaching it with like putting 2 ladders on top of each other. Thankfully, I didn't have to delete all of the landscaping to place the freaking scaffolding there to be able to fix the wall. Otherwise, I would probably just put the window back, or like whatever. I don't need this freaking mirror on the wall. Yeah, but I needed to, because I knew I wanted to use multiple materials on the outside. I usually end up using like 2 to 3 different materials and colors on the outside of my modern builds. So I needed to create some shape for this building. I needed to be kind of like at least 2 squares to have some division between the shapes, so I can actually make them. I can make the like switch between the different materials more seamless. So I have to add some shape to the building. That's where I accidentally changed the roof. And by accidentally, I mean like, well, I'm changing the shape here, so might as well just rebuild the roof here. Well, I'm rebuilding the roof, might as well just rebuild the entire roof of the house. And yeah, like, hey, I want to build a patio here, so I gotta rebuild the roof on this part anyway. And hey, I could do the roof like over the patio. So then I just change it all. But that's what made this build great, because you couldn't tell from looking at the outside, because I changed the entire roof and added the patios. You couldn't tell what this build was. By looking at my renovation, you couldn't tell that it's the Peacey's family home, right? But changing the roof is where I really miss the grappling hook as well, right? Because in House Flipper 1, when you place the roof, it came with like existing walls at the ends, which I'm glad this one doesn't, because it like makes it possible for me to do the roof how it is. And I think it's great. You can choose where the wall is inside the roof, so I can make it kind of open on the patios and put the wall to where I want it to. But I wanted to use the grappling hook for placing the roofs, because again, messing with the scaffolding is just annoying. I figured the fastest way to do the walls on the roofs is to build a wall throughout the entire roof so that it's clipping with the top, and then going on the roof with scaffolding, going on the roof and using the precise demolishing tool to get rid of the clipping parts. But I didn't, of course, because this is my first time redoing the roof in House Flipper 2. I didn't figure that out right away. So at first I do it kind of row by row and it's super slow. So I cut that part out of the video as well, because I climb up build a roof, then have to go closer to actually build it. Then I climb up again and choose where I want to all to go and go back and build it. And it was annoying to build. It would have been annoying to watch, so I cut it away. So while doing the windows, I'm trying to prioritize the windows looking good from the front of the building. And then on the sides and the back, I'm just putting the windows to where it looks good on the inside instead of the outside. But with the kitchen, I just took out a random counter and a random cabinet, so I can measure where I want the windows to go and what height the windows should be. And I obviously sell the random counters after. I did get stuck a few times in this game. I don't remember exactly where, I just remember at some point I was building the roof and I accidentally trapped myself in the roof. I was able to fix that by like deleting the roof and moving out of the way and rebuilding the roof. The one time I got stuck was I was replacing the door, and then I used the change style tool to change the side of the like where the door opens, and then the door got stuck shut and it trapped me into the room with it. But that fixed itself when I went to main menu and back into the game, and it was fixed. That fixed like most of the times I got stuck. But it's a fairly new game. I bet they're still working on bug fixes and they're probably gonna upload a ton more updates to this game still. So I'll forgive it. And like I said, I was able to fix it. It's not like I lost any progress because of it, so it's fine. I was talking about the grappling hook, and it came with the farm DLC in House Flipper 1. And I'm wondering if, when they're gonna add DLC to House Flipper 2. The farm DLC was my favorite pack in House Flipper 1. That's because the farm DLC added being able to edit the exteriors of buildings, which is like base game in House Flipper 2. Let me know what kind of DLCs you want to see in House Flipper 2, but for me, my number one on my wish list for House Flipper 2 is fairy lights, and I hope they add them soon in a DLC. I don't care, I'll pay 10 euros just to get fairy lights. Yeah, like I said, Farm DLC was my favorite DLC in House Flipper 1, but I didn't like it because of the farm things it added. I liked it because of the build stuff, so I don't know if I'd want a farm DLC in House Flipper 2. Maybe my number one theme that I want for House Flipper 2 is pets. I never liked the gameplay aspects that the DLCs in House Flipper 1 added. I always had my pets' needs disabled in House Flipper 1, even though I had a lot of pets. I liked owning pets in House Flipper 1, I just didn't want to care for them. I just play House Flipper to renovate houses, not care for my pets, right? And same for the farm DLC. I liked it for the tools it added, but I never once in House Flipper 1 owned farm animals. I'll pay for any DLC House Flipper 2 gets if it just has fairy lights, okay? I added fairy lights everywhere in House Flipper 1. I can link you in the description my older builds that I used fairy lights in. I just love placing them on patios. If I do a cozy furnishing on the inside of the building, I usually add them in you can add them in living rooms, in bedrooms, always patios, and just outside in general. They're just so versatile. I use them everywhere. They add light, they add cuteness, they add style, they add coziness, they add fairy lights is everything, okay? And in my previous video, I replaced them with vines instead. I'll link that video for you in the description as well. I think it turns out looking good. We do have curtains now, but in my first video, they hadn't added curtains yet to the game. So I replaced curtains with plants as well. I add some hanging plants on the sides of the windows, but I'm glad we do have curtains now, even though I think it ends up looking okay because I love plants. But imagine plants and fairy lights though. Yeah, okay. Like I said, I'll link those past videos in the description for you. You can go watch those after this one if you want to. This game is still fairly new and we don't have any DLC yet, I don't think. I want to check though, because this is only my second time playing House Flipper 2. I've been using so much time just editing the videos, right? So I don't have that much time to actually play it. House Flipper 2 store page. Yeah, House Flipper 2 doesn't have any DLCs yet. Yeah, so it doesn't have a lot of furniture yet, or a lot of items yet. So I tried to not use too many of the same items I used in my first build, because they're obviously a similar style, because modern is my go-to. I wanted to use the same windows, but I used different windows because I didn't want the houses end up looking the exact same. I love that you can add custom paintings to House Flipper 2. I don't know if you could do that in House Flipper 1. I just added a ton in the workshop, but I love that you can do it in House Flipper 2. I ended up downloading some paintings from a site that lets you download prints for free. What I mostly use in this build though are just paintings from The Sims 4. I upload some of those to House Flipper 2 using The Sims 4 Studio. If you're interested in that program, I have a video on how to convert the Sims 4 items into House Flipper 1, but that has the Sims 4 Studio linked. It does require you to own the Sims 4 games that you want the items from though. But this build took 9 hours in real time, and even when sped up it's 3 hours, so I just physically can't talk for that long and I'm running out of stuff to say, so I think I'm gonna cut the voiceover right here and you can finish watching the speed build with some music in the background instead. If you want to support me, leave a like and a comment. If you want to see more of my content, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy watching the speed build and I'll speak to you all soon. bye.